look ready. Okay, so take a look here. Today we're going to focus on the first two parts, okay? One is moles to number of particles, formula units, atoms, or molecules. And for this kind of conversion, we're going to be using Avogadro's number. So for Avogadro's number, how can you tell which one to use? If molar mass or Avogadro's number? Okay, so guys, think about this as a conversion factors. Those are conversion factors. So if any problem mentions one of the four words that you see over there, particles, formula units, atoms, or molecules, means that you are going to be using as a conversion factor the Avogadro's number, okay? So, for example, the first problem says, how many atoms are in 3.5 moles of gold? Okay, so we're going to focus on that one. Let me just, oh, it's there. So, in the problem, in the question, it's implicit two things, given and unknown. Okay, so in this question, this is going to be like the first example. Okay, how many atoms are in 3.5 moles of gold? So you have to relate given and unknown. So the problem is asking me to find how many atoms. So atoms is what I'm going to look for, which means that this is going to be my unknown. But the problem is giving me a tool to solve it. That is the number of moles. It says how many atoms are where? Well, in 3.5 moles of gold. So the 3.5 moles of gold actually is going to be known as the given, okay? It is the given or the known. So for this kind of exercises, we're going to start always with the given, just like we do in conversion factors. Just remember that in conversion factors, we always have like a fraction format, okay? Where one element is going to be in the top and the other part is going to be in the bottom, like in a fraction, okay? So I always going to start writing. I'm going to do it, but I know that you have your notebook is not going to be a big deal. Okay? So imagine that. So we always start with the given. So we say, remember the fractions in conversion factor, you have top and bottom, okay? So you always start with the top, writing the given in the top. So we say 3.5 moles of gold. Remember that gold is an element and the symbol is AU. Okay? So 3.5 moles of gold, I will use what as a conversion factor? Because the problem is giving me atoms or asking me atoms. The key word in that question is atoms. So atoms, as you can see right here, is related to what I told you, Avogadro's number. So every time you see atoms, formula units, molecules, or particles, this is the conversion factor that you are always going to use. Okay? And it's always in 1 mole of a substance, you're going to have this amount of particles, formula units, atoms, and molecules. So this conversion factor is used as like this. If you have moles here located in the top, where are you going to place the mole? In the conversion factor for Avogadro's number. So your moles right there. That's why I couldn't erase it because I wasn't erasing it. So the moles over there are in the top, okay? So you need to put the Avogadro's conversion in a way that you can cancel the moles. So the mole that is in the top is going to be written here. In one mole of, in this case, the element gold, you're gonna find 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power. The problem is asking me about atoms, so I'm going to use the same word, atoms. Of what element? You always need to specify the element. So this is going to be atoms of gold atoms. So how are you going to do this in your calculator? I'm going to send a picture, okay, to the group. I'm going to send a picture. Okay, so in case that you have one of these type of calculators. So in your calculator, remember everything at the top multiplies, everything below divides. So in your calculator, you're gonna do this as 3.5 times, okay? Then you're gonna put the Avogadro's number, 6.022. Now, instead of times 10, you're going to press the key X. Or if you have the key times 10x, use that one, okay? Depending on the type of calculator that you have. If you have like my calculator here, you're gonna be using the key that I put in the whiteboard, okay? If you have then the other calculator that I sent to the group, you're gonna be using the key that I highlight in the picture, okay? So after pressing the key X or times 10x, you're gonna write, you're gonna type the exponent 23. And because that's all the process that you have to do, press the key equal. How much do you get from that? How much do you get from that?
2.177 times 10 in the fourth power.
Okay, we are gonna be using 2 digits after the decimal point. So you have 1077, right? Times 10 to the 24th power. Now, here, you cancel the moles of gold with the moles of gold from the bottom. So the remaining units, that's what you're going to write in your answer. Those are atoms of gold. This is your answer, okay? But I told you, we need to round. So 2 digits after the decimal point, okay, it's going to be 10. But because the next number is more than 5, is equal or more than 5, that means that it's going to, this one, it's going to lend 1 to the 0, and it's going to become 2.11 times 10 to the 24th power atoms, gold atoms, okay? Both answers are correct, but if you can simplify your answer by rounding it, it will be better. Is there anyone who didn't get this answer? Just remember that you can round the numbers. Now take a look. This problem is in the page 83 from your textbook. It says, how many moles of silver, which has the symbol Ag, are in 3.01 times 10 to the 23rd power atoms of silver. So again, even though the question is a little bit different, with the same question, you can get the unknown and the given. So what is the problem asking you to find in this second example? What is the problem asking you to find in this example? It says, how many moles of silver? Moles of silver is what you need to find. Okay, so that will be your known. And the number given is going to be, of course, the given. The 3 point whatever atoms of silver is the given. And we always start with the given. So we say, again, I'm going to trace a line, but that's only for teaching purposes. Okay, so as I already told you in the example before, we always begin in the top with the given, okay? So remember, top and bottom, and the given, that is 3.01 times 10 to the 23rd power atoms of silver. That is your given. And you're gonna use Avogadro's number as a conversion factor. Now, for this example, where I need to write the number of atoms, in the top or in the bottom?
In the bottom?
In the bottom. Remember that they need to be canceled, so it is in the bottom. So in the bottom, you're going to write atoms of the same substance, silver. And in the top, you're going to write the mole of the same substance, silver. And then, okay, don't forget to write the Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power. Now, how are you going to do this in your calculator? Before we go into that, we need to check that we can cancel atoms of silver with atoms of silver. And in your calculator, this will be as 3.01 instead of time x, you're going to use the key x and then the power 23. You are multiplying times 1. So this is times 1. And you are dividing by the number that is in the bottom. So you say divided by 6.022. Now again, instead of times 10, I'm gonna use the key x. And then the power 23 and equal. How is the answer that you get?
0.51.
0.50.
0.50. You got 0.4998, right? Something
Yes.
like that. Okay. So here, take these two because this number is more than 5. It's going to give 1 to 49, so it's going to make 50. So I'm going to write it 49.98 moles of silver, or rounded to 50 moles of silver. Both answers are correct. It's better if you round, okay? So that's why that one is the one that is in my box. Did you get the same answer as me?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so remember, anytime that you see words like atoms, molecules, units, or particles, you have to use Avogadro's number as a conversion factor. If by any chance the problem mentions grams, we're going to be using molar mass as a conversion factor, but we are not in that part yet, okay? We just here using number of particles and atoms. So right now, just Avogadro's number. Now, for your quiz, what's coming in the next quiz? In the next quiz comes everything from the presentation that we just finished today and the practice part of isotopes. Okay, the topic that I taught you the other day that is very simple. So that part practice and the rest is theory. So you have to study a lot of theory, but you know I'm going to ask you just a few concepts. So 5% practice and 5% theory. Remember to lock your microphone. Okay. So remember to study the presentation and to practice the topic about isotopes. And it was very easy. Any doubt on this topic, you have a couple seconds to ask me or you can send me a message.